What's going on, guys? We got some news today for Destiny. There's actually been a lot of news lately, but we got some previews today. So we're going to talk about the previews. We're going to talk about the new cycles, basically the new formats that we're going to have, and all of that. So it's actually pretty exciting. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So today we got a look at some of the blue characters from the new Legacies set. Now this is Legacies. It's going to have the new white and red kind of color format. You may have already seen this with the new 2-player starter. And what this is like the color scheme for the next couple of waves, for the next cycle. You may be familiar with other games, how they, like Magic the Gathering, would have blocks, like 3 expansions would be all kind of grouped together with like maybe a common theme or certain common mechanics or whatever. And that also helps them kind of segment a standard format. That's one of the things that they're going towards. So first character we get is Maul. Now this is not Darth Maul. This is more the Maul we see in Star Wars Rebels. It looks awesome. That die looks awesome. He's going to be a legendary at 12 and 16. And he's got 2 damage sides. The 3 is got a cost to it, so he's not super damaging, but he only costs 12 and 16, so that's not too bad. Got disrupt, discard, resource, and after one or more of this character's character or upgrade dice are removed by an opponent's card effect, you may remove one of their dice. And that's very common. You see people getting rid of your dice, so he's a way for him to strike back. So pretty nasty. Next up, we got Maul's Lightsaber, which I think is like the coolest looking card I've seen in a long time. It does cost 3, but look at that, 4 damage sides. 3 of them are modifiers. This might have been a better card to have in the current format since we don't have the indirect damage side, but this will be really good if you're going for strictly melee damage. But there's so much in this set that has indirect damage as well, because they added that 3rd damage type, where I don't know how well this is going to actually fit into that. It seems like it's going to fit into very specific decks. But be a blue character only in a power action, which is a once per turn. If an opponent has no shields on their characters, you can roll this die into your pool, so you can activate it again. So hence the double-bladed cool stuff. We got another version of the Emperor, but this is Darth Sidious Palpatine before he was the Emperor from the prequels. And he's not nearly as menacing, right? He's 16 and 20, so he's still expensive, but you don't have to run him as a solo character. And he's got the power action. You can play an event from your hand, decreasing its cost by the number of different damage symbols showing on your dice. So you can potentially reduce the cost by 3 for an event, which is pretty nice. There are some really different, really expensive events out there. So this obviously fits into a certain deck type. Also, you would have to cater your characters to kind of maximize this, but his die fits into it as well. And 12 health too, so he's pretty strong. We get this card, Double Strike. Resolve one of your dice showing melee damage without removing it from your pool. Pretty nice for only 2. Not too bad. We have Snare, cost 3. Play if you have 1 or more exhausted characters. Exhaust a character. That's really nice. That's there was another card that you had to sacrifice a character to exhaust a character in Awakening. So that's potentially very strong. And you don't have to sacrifice a character, which is always great. We get Yoda. Now, this is Return of the Jedi Yoda. Like, not our dueling Yoda, but our mentor Yoda. If you notice, he doesn't have any damage sides. That was the first thing I noticed. And I'm like, wait a second, what kind of Yoda is this? But this is a thematic, mentor behind-the-scenes Yoda. He only costs 10 to get one of his dice out there, too. But look at this. He's got 2 specials. He's got no blanks. And he's a legendary. So choose and do 2 of the following. Gain a resource, or give a character a shield, or turn a die to any side, one of your dice to any side, or discard the top card of a deck. So he can do just about anything. I think if you look at the fact that he's got a 2 focus, and the fact that he's got 2 specials that can turn one of your dice to any side, it effectively gives him 3 focus sides and more. So he's got, he's very, very strong to be paired with a power character. They give you the example of using the Awakenings version of Luke Skywalker, which would totally work. I'm a big blue player, and I love my Luke Skywalker, and I actually just managed to get another one, so I have 3 Luke Skywalkers now, so I'm going to have to trade that away to somebody for something else. But yes, very cool, and I think when you're running characters that have that one, high damage side, you're going to want somebody like him. He would also he'll also work with like any other really strong attack character that comes out. So Yoda could be very, very nice. Let's see what else we got in here. Forced Meditation. It costs 2. Has two specials on it. To place, blot a blue character, and discard the top 2 cards of a deck. So, Blue Mill, it looks like it's becoming a thing. I probably won't ever do that. I don't want to get rid of the top 2 cards of people's decks. I just want to aggro and attack them and fight like Jedi and Sith. Ayala Secura. Ayala, I always thought it was Ayala Secura. Ayla Secura. Well, there you go. She looks actually. I love that art too. Great image there, and only for 9 points too. She's pretty cheap. She's got 3 damage sides too. See, like this is the indirect damage just allows for characters to be so much better. Turn one of her specialists. Turn one of your blue or red dice to any side. Turn an opponent's die to any side. So she doesn't want to work with yellows, right? So Yoda has defensive teaching. Each of your blue characters can have 1 additional shield. This is crazy. First off, it costs 0, and it's a support, so it's not likely they're going to get rid of it. Yeah, that's for like Qui-Gon decks or whatever, and especially after with the nerf, to the Vibroblade dagger. This is kind of a big deal. This is nice. There's so much shield bearing stuff too. Shields are really coming back. Ataru Strike. For 1, it's an event. Resolve one of your blue character dice showing melee damage, increasing its value by the number of shields on that character. So this just fits in. Like, I feel like Qui-Gon is going to be like the new king of this game once this expansion comes out. Adapt. Remove a shield from one of your characters to gain a resource. So, all right, again, shields, same kind of stuff. Not as completely overpowered of a card. But yeah, so I think that's about it for the previews that we got today. I'm really excited about Maul, and I think running Qui-Gon would be good. I think I only have 1 Qui-Gon too. I need to get another one. Anyway, let's talk about the blocking and the new types of formats that they're going to be having. So first off, a lot of people are probably upset that like they're going to be phasing certain things out. So over here you've got your first 3 sets: Awakening, Spirit of Rebellion, and Empire at War. That was the first kind of block, and now you've got Legacies, and you got your starters over here. You got your starters over here. Now you also have the draft set. So there are some things that are outside of an official wave that are still going to be considered part of this wave, and it's kind of basically they're going to have 3 new formats. They're going to have Infinite, which is just everything. I'll probably mostly play Infinite, although the Infinite won't really become a thing for like another year at least. But basically, Standard is going to include the most recent blocks. And what that means is, right now, Standard still includes everything. Once a third cycle comes out, so once Legacies has been out for a little while, another expansion comes out, and then another expansion comes out. So once the third white and red expansion come out, and then they announce another expansion, and maybe let's say that the expansion color is purple and yellow. Okay, let's say cycle 3 ends up being purple and yellow, and it's called, I don't know, based off of episode 9. Well, then the purple and yellow set will start cycle 3. Awakenings will then, and all 3 of these will phase out of Standard, and then it will be all the Legacy, and then cycle 3, and then so on and so forth. Once cycle 4 comes out, all of the cycle 3 and cycle 4 stuff. And the easiest way to judge this is just by the color of the boxes. That's one thing I think that's pretty smart that they have done. They could have very easily made these standalone releases like the starters and the things that are in the draft box. They could have made them like just a neutral, a black color or a gray color, but instead they paired them up with the wave they want them to belong in. Now, keep in mind, if there's cards that you really like, or there's cards that are in the game that you don't want to see go away, there are cards that are going to get reused. Like in the 2-player starter, there were some cards from Awakenings in there that were reprinted in this set. So it's not like all your favorite cards are going away. It's just certain ones are probably not going to come back, or may come back different with different art or whatever. But basically that's now. The only thing I don't know yet is if an Awakenings card that is also legal in, the Legacies set, if you're only playing in that set, Is it going to be legal because it's the same card, or do you need to have the actual card that's printed under this set? Like in Magic the Gathering, you could use any version of a card as long as a version of it was legal in the current set. Now, I believe if it's errated, you would still have to use the errated version. So, like if Luke Skywalker gets errated to where both of his damage sides are now only 2, so his 3 damage side becomes a 2 damage side, well then, and then gets reprinted in a future set, you could use your original Luke Skywalker, but you'd have to treat the 3 as a 2. Now that's just hypothetical. I don't see them doing errata for die sides anytime soon. But that's just an example. Now there's two formats we talked about already. We talked about Infinite and we talked about Standard. Now there's also another format called Trilogy, and Trilogy would be single color only, right? So just Awakenings or just Legacies, right? So we're kind of, I don't think we're actually in Trilogy right now, if you out of what's out right now, because the starter set already came out, and this is actually part of the Legacies block. But up until Force Friday, everything we were in all 3 formats at the same time. Once I don't really anticipate a whole lot of people wanting to play Trilogy, although I have heard a lot of people complain about how there's so much in the game and it's overload, and they want it to be kind of simplified a little bit. So you may see some Trilogy events launching after Legacies comes out, because you will have a couple of things. You'll have the starters, you'll have the 2-player starter, you'll have the draft box, the draft kit, and also the wave. So that's actually for one wave, they're going to have a lot of product out. So you may find some people playing Trilogy format. I have a problem with that personally, because I'm not that organized with my Destiny stuff, and I don't want to necessarily have to go through and sort and be like, oh, I have to remake all my decks using only stuff from these waves. That'd be a pain in the butt for me. So I'm very casual Destiny player. I play like on lunch sometimes. I don't go to as many tournaments anymore, although I do still, maybe once a month I'll try to go to a tournament. But I don't really gear myself towards being ultra competitive or ultra tournament. So if I do go to tournaments, they'll probably be Standard or Infinite. And I don't really see people running Infinite tournaments. I mean, and Infinite won't be a big thing until Cycle 3 comes out, and that's not going to be for a long time, or maybe even Cycle 4. But it'd be fun at a certain point. But all of that just makes me really, really hope they do a Destiny digital game once the Fantasy Flight Interactive comes up, because then it's so much easier. Like when I played Magic the Gathering, I loved the interface for the online version, because it would tell you, oh, your deck is legal in these formats, and this way you don't have an accident. This way you don't accidentally include that one common that just managed to slip through the cracks, and all of a sudden in the middle of a tournament now you have an illegal deck and you're disqualified. All right, so it just helps. Also, you don't have to worry about somebody else doing that. You don't want to be that guy who's just like, hey man, your deck is illegal because in a card that maybe wouldn't even matter, but you get somebody kicked, so it prevents a lot of that. So I would really look forward to the digital version. I may ease up on my Destiny purchases a little bit, and then kind of save that up towards hopefully what will be a digital version. But curious how you guys feel about this formatting here. Do you think that having Standard is good for the long-term health of the game? Do you think it's a good entry point for new players who don't want to necessarily feel like, oh, well, if I want to be competitive, I have to go on eBay and find a box of Awakenings and a box of Spirit of the Rebellion, that stopped being printed years ago? Or do you, that's one good thing about Magic. Like, you can pick up a starter and a few boosters and put together a deck and play today against people in Standard format. The barrier to entry is less than it used to be. Now, Extended is still harder. There's different formats. I don't even know what they call them now. I stopped really paying attention to Magic the Gathering competitively years ago. But Standard might be a good way to go, or maybe just Trilogy. So maybe just the single block only. I don't know what's going to be the big thing. I don't know what's going to be the favorite format among players. But it's definitely interesting. I'm a little upset by it. Although I expected it coming, I'm a little upset by the fact that I'm going to have to, at some point, take my current decks that are using a lot of Awakenings cards and shelve them. So that's, but I think I knew that was going to happen eventually all along, and it looks like it's not going to happen for a while. So that's good. So there we go. That's where we are. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and it means a lot to me. And make sure you subscribe. There's a giveaway still going on right now through Thanksgiving. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. If you also want to enter the painting contest, there's a grand prize going on also until Thanksgiving. That gets you an extra entry into the door prize giveaway, but also the grand prize is a copy of Legion. So make sure you enter that. Got to be a subscriber. Leave a comment on the video. Also go to crabbok.com, enter the painting contest if you want. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.